Okay. Unit 9. What did you enjoy about Unit 9?
The thing I enjoyed about Unit 9 was the initial initial ideas part and the prop making part. Those are the parts that I enjoyed. Filming was okay, apart from the fact that I sustained a bit of an injury, but...
Did you?
Yeah, there was a scene where... one of the scenes where we did it twice, or a couple times, where I stood in front of the camera and then ran down the hill into the field, went into a pothole, twisted my ankle and fell over. But something...
Were you in pain after?
Oh, yeah, I was in pain, but it's... The ankles... my ankle was usually in pain, so I just got used to it.
So the risk assessment wasn't very good?
No, the risk assessment wasn't the best, no.
Okay. Did you enjoy the added pressure of the prop?
What do you mean, like, in terms of, like, doing the prop work alongside the... I didn't like that. That, I felt, did add a bit of a lot of unneeded pressure, because it was like... Because the effect of box did take a lot of time up to do, it kind of left me in a situation where we were done. I was just like, I've only got a couple of days to do the pre-production paperwork, and I felt a bit stressed at that point.
And I think that was probably echoed across the class, but I think the lesson that was trying to be suggested was...
scheduling that time?
Yeah, but also, in all previous projects, no one has really considered the importance of props, or the importance of costume, or in some occasions the importance of locations. And I think by having prop really at the forefront, it made you appreciate that so much time does go into props, whether you're making them or you're not.
Yeah.
So moving forward, although you might not be making the props, you need to remember the importance of the prop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so research we've already been through, but you've since added your bibliography, which wasn't on there last time.
Yep.
You just need to remember to ensure that your bibliography is added right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, so as soon as we start on the new project, get that bibliography saved on your memory stick. Every time we go on a website, add it on.
Yep.
So when we move forward with Unit 10, think today you've already been on TV listings, you've already been on Barb. All of those should be on your website.
Yep.
Does that make sense? On the bibliography, sorry. Yeah. You didn't conduct any further research after the research point, and that's something that I definitely want to see you improve on.
Okay.
So yes, we have a research week, but as you know, when you go into pre-production and even post-production, there's always an element of research that needs to be conducted. It'd be nice to see that on your website. Okay. In terms of pre-production, here.
Yep.
Okay, so in terms of pre-production, your proposal was well prepared, you had good identification of your research and idea, however your target audience could be justified in greater detail, and you could have applied psychographics to your analysis of target audience.
Yep.
Type of contribution and location required section does not reflect the outcome. You should have adapted the details once the location and actors had been secured, or at least describe the type of talent required, i.e. 3 males.
Yeah.
It was very, very general. And if at that moment in time it is general, I think you need to think to yourself, why is it general? Because when you do a proposal, your ideas should almost be set in stone. And if from that point they then change, that's what your diaries are for.
Yeah.
But there was no evidence of that in your diaries and in your proposal. The whole idea was that you had those 4 different males, and that wasn't really evidence even in your proposal. The sound plan and the test shots are absolutely fantastic. The location recce requires greater reference to their suitability for filming. So what I mean by that is these are your location recce's here.
Yeah.
So you've taken pictures, but in your justification, you need to link it more specifically to the production values of that location. So rather than, yes, it provides vast desolate area, vast expanses of the Wild West, but how would that help you? So it enables you to give you that really nice wide angle shot or establishing shot for the opening scene. So link it to your ideas, okay? And moving forward, that was one location, but were there other locations you considered?
There were other locations, like there was the pub, the Crown, but the time with everything that was going on with like sorting out everything, I didn't have the time to go.
And that's something we need to work on, because you're never going to work towards a very high standard if you're only saying this is location, done, tick the box, move on.
Yeah.
You need to be thinking about being critical and the alternatives.
Yeah, I was like a bit confused. Like one thing that kind of like, I don't understand why that's unavailable.
Okay, so this is an issue because, all right, it's a test shot, okay, but you wouldn't be able to work towards a high standard if you can't do test shots. And at the moment, I've got one test shot that works, one that doesn't, and no analysis.
Okay.
So what was the purpose of these test shots? Yeah, the purpose just to tick the box that I've done a test shot. You need to tell me what you found out from it, because if in here there were errors, okay, so for example, if I play this test shot, I know I'm going to be able to hear the background noise in the pub.
Yep.
Yeah,
and you can see the lighting. There's also fixtures which are in modern era, so...
Completely. Now, in your final edit, some of those issues have been rectified, okay? So that's the type of thing you need to talk about in here. In this shot, I can see all of those things you just listed. I know you know it, but you don't tell me in your website. And if they then appeared in the final edit, that would be, your test shot hasn't been purposeful. But the fact that you rectified some of those mistakes, you've actually thought about it. So you need to make sure that you analyse your test shots.
Yeah.
Okay? Poor organisation in terms of pre-production to source actors and locations. Certain members of your group were better than others, but I think if it weren't for the fact that we was constantly saying, right, hang on a minute, who's doing what location, phone this, phone that, you would not have had a location.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah? Problem solved, you changed the idea to reflect the cast and the location needs, well-written script that reflected research and genre. So really well done. And in terms of problem solving, you worked well in pre-production to resolve those issues with the script and ensure it reflected the location the cast demands. So I know that wasn't primarily your role, but you took on board that, and I've read that in your diaries.
Yeah, there was an issue as well, like, it's like, again, with the test shots and all that type of stuff, like, I was a bit confused as to what I was doing with the test shots, because I really haven't focused around doing cameraman roles.
Yeah.
And the test shot would be in the cameraman roles.
So then why did you do it? Why did you do the camera?
The reason why the cameraman, the test shots roles were done is after everyone finished doing the
prop and pre-production.
Prop work, and we just started going into pre-production. Me and Joe were supposed to go, and I was going to guide him to the locations because I knew where Warden Hill, what he was and all that type of stuff. But what happened was Tracy didn't allow him to go because she was worried because he wasn't
falling behind.
He was falling behind. So I went, and then when I came back, it was just a note of uploading it and then going home.
So what you should do in future is in that diary you should have said today our group needed test shots. I problem solved and was proactive and went out and recorded those test shots. I have now passed them on to the camera operator to watch and analyse to fulfil his role.
Yeah.
Make that clear.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really, really important. Otherwise, you've just got test shots on there.
There was an issue with communication on my part.
There was a big issue with communication, I think, throughout. In terms of
the final
edit, the film itself contains some creative shots and angles throughout, and you have clearly tried to think outside of the box when shooting. The use of narrator to tell the story is entertaining. At times, he contributes fragments to the comedy element of the narrative which you are going for. There are several sound issues when you're in the pub, and there is a lot of background noise of things being moved around.
And especially outside as well, there's the sound
in the field,
issues.
You've picked up excessive wind noise, and in the background of one shot, Chloe can be heard talking.
Yep.
Okay. The actors are robotic in their delivery of lines, and it does not feel natural. More rehearsal time was required for this. And this is really important because that's something which, no matter how brilliant you are in terms of technical element or technical execution, if you can't control your actors and cast, the content's never going to improve. Does that make sense? It's always going to look student because you need to make sure that casting is on point, and that's something that your group really struggled with. You and Joe worked on the chest of gold for the prop. It took you both a long time to take the wooden pallets apart to actually start building the prop itself. You'd planned on wood burning a logo onto it and partially filling it with gold coins. Sadly, you'd not do either of these things. They just end up with a basic wooden box that we never see the inside of. This would make the narrative clearer that they are on the hunt for a chest of gold, not just a wooden box.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I did. I think there was a plan to mention in the fact that when one of my pre-production diaries, like, I was supposed to source the gold, but due to some monetary issues, like because I had to pay out for a lot of things, I wasn't able to then go and collect the gold coins. And when I did have the money, I went to go collect, and couldn't find them in any store.
Okay, so that's, again, I don't remember reading that in your diary.
Oh, okay, so...
Yeah?
Yeah.
Overall, the film is confusing because of the narrative. Your narrator is involved at times, but not at others, and you have lost what you are trying to achieve in your planning.
Okay.
Sadly, the film is not very funny.
Yeah, okay.
Would you agree with that?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can agree.
So, go on.
I can agree with it, like... I feel that the way things were presented with the actors and everything like that, like they could have been rehearsed more. If they were rehearsed more, then those comedic things would have been. You would have been able. The audience members would have been able to see them a bit better.
Because I remember when you pitched and we said, by all means, if you want to do comedy, you know, or a parody, that's fine, but you have to make it funny, and it needs to be funny to all and not just funny to yourselves. And I think at times there's parts where you're like, oh yeah, that's cool, that's funny. But then when the narrative's lost, even if it was funny, you just be like, I'm so confused now, I don't even find that funny, so I don't know what's going on. And I think that was what the issue was.
Yeah.
Okay? So in terms of context, you can see here that you need to have a good understanding and knowledge of the subject context.
Yep.
If you're telling me it's a comedy and it's not funny, then I don't think that's a high standard.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also need to make sure that in your overall evaluation, you link back to the context. So when you're evaluating it, link it back to what it was that you actually intended to do in terms of context, in terms of the genre. Does that make sense? Yeah. Research we spoke about, obviously. The bibliography needed to be uploaded timely, and we spoke about the importance of that primary research being recorded properly, being organised properly, and being purposeful.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can hear thorough and sustained research. Your secondary research was very good and thorough, but your primary research needs to be more detailed in terms of you're organising it more timely.
And also the fact that the sources I got some of my information from weren't professional. That's one thing.
Broaden your sources, yeah? Okay. Problem solving, I think, was a high standard because, as I said, you took it on board to rectify that issue with the script. And as a group, although there were some issues with casting which potentially could have put you here, I think as a group you managed to find the location, you got on with it, you did what you needed to do, and you ended up with a product which in parts reflected a Western, yeah? Planning and production, as I said, because of the lack of organisation, I don't think that I could give it coherent and reasoned planning because there's definitely elements that needed to be improved.
Oh, yeah, I can definitely understand
so you just need to be more organised because you could have the best planning in the world, but if you're not organised...
It shows.
Yes, okay. In terms of practical skills, obviously spoke about the element of sound is a really big thing. And like, controlling sound is really difficult, and it's something that students always battle with because I'm recording outside, there's always going to be sound of wind, but you need to take time to remove that sound, record the sound in isolation, and link it up.
Okay.
Yeah? I know you can cut to the beat and link because you did it in music video. That's exactly what you need to do.
Okay.
Okay? Evaluation and reflection is here because your pitch evaluation and overall evaluation are both detailed. Consider why and how things went wrong and how you improve. You are considering the process much better than you ever have before. That said, there is no peer or audience feedback on any of your diaries or your final evaluation. So all it is your own opinion, okay? And you need to have reasoned decision making to inform the development of your ideas. It can't be reasoned if it's only your opinion.
Okay.
Okay, so in your overall evaluation, you need to make sure you use that feedback from your rough edit, or even better, hold your own test screening.
Okay.
Okay. Diaries detail the problems you face, but in parts are a bit descriptive. So on some days, I think when we've been doing work where you're just research, I think you find it more difficult to be critical because it's like, well, we've just researched. But when you've researched, has that clarified your idea? Has that found gaps in knowledge? Has that affected your ability to move quicker? Because sometimes you spend ages on one piece of research, but that's not because you're being slow. There'll be a reason for it. Is it because you needed added insight or because there's lots that you didn't know? Or so try and be a bit more reflective. So to get up to a high standard, what I want to see is audience feedback in your evaluations and you holding a test screening. Okay? Presentation, as we discussed, website is hard to navigate around. Okay, so you need to think about those buttons because presentation doesn't only come under pitch, how you present yourself as a professional, it also comes down to the way your work is presented. And for me, the presentation on your website needs a lot of improvement. We've spoke about the pitch and the absence, so we're not going to keep going back over that. There is a few spelling and grammar issues throughout the website, okay, so you just need to make sure that you're not rushing to go back and check on them, okay? When you've uploaded your documents, some of them are upside down. And now
that's with the photocopy and stuff.
When you scan and send it, so you need to make sure you are thinking about turning them around and resaving them because it's a massive issue now you're a year 2 student because it needs to be professional. And if I'm having to go like that, that's what the examiner's going to be doing and we don't want that unprofessionalism, okay? The test shot video doesn't work, but the casting poster is absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
I think it's awesome. And when Tracy put it up on the wall, I thought rightly so because it really adheres to conventions and in terms of context, does exactly what it was he was trying to do.
I must say that was more so down to Joe. I just have I get him.
Yeah, but it's still, you know, it's grouped well. Worked around pre-production to roll script issues and ensure reflect location and masterminds. You had to re-edit footage on the last day. You need to be more organised and sort out the hard drive.
The hard drive situation, I'm still struggling to gather the funds to afford it because I've got to. I should be able to afford it. Start saving up to afford it next week because I have my test tomorrow, my driving test, so I don't have to continue paying out.
Or even better, we have Christmas coming up. Please put it on your Christmas list.
Okay, yeah, actually that's a good point.
Managed to source location for group. This wasn't completely timely.
Yeah.
So yes, in the end we got the pub, but it was a little bit
rushed.
You just need to be more organised. You've got the ability to be really, really good, but sometimes your lack of time management, and sometimes someone else will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just be proactive, and like I said to other people in your group, if you can see things are going wrong, don't adopt that attitude of, well, if no one else is bothering, why should I? Bother because it will reflect in your grade.
Yeah.
And it will not reflect in theirs.
Okay.
So overall, for your first project, some areas of strength, lots of areas to improve on. But in the next project, I want to see some of these now go into.
Overall, I'm not happy with like the end product that I produced myself. I'm not happy with like the way things were laid out in my or the work that I completed.
Yeah.
It was just well, I remembered when I was doing the work, it was a lot of just like I'm trying to do this or get this done because I need to move on to something else as quick as possible.
Yeah.
So I feel that if I had more time, if I in fact took more time into scheduling and planning things out and what I'm going to be doing, I would be able to, let's say, get into those higher mark areas because it was literally just, okay, I've got this to do, then I've got this to do, I've got this to do, just might as well tick the boxes.
And you can do it because in your F&P, although the end product went completely wrong, the actual work in the build-up, there are some really good elements to it, so I know you can do it, but you only do it when you give yourself time and not when you rush in. I think it would be good if each week you had like a submission checklist and you knew exactly what it was you was doing and you knew what was on the website.
Yeah.
And I don't mind doing that for you every week. I do it for some of the year ones, print it out, give it to them at the end of the week so they know over the weekend what needs to be on their website by the time Tuesday comes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah? So maybe that's something that we can do. I mean, there's no need to do it now for this project because you've got that PowerPoint, that is your tick list. But from that point on, if you want that, I will do that for you. It will take 10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay,
All
so
right.
then you can schedule your time better each lesson.
Okay.
All right?